people, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. Y'all know I got the queen here.
Sinclair Walker, what's going on, y'all?
And we are on our way back to Tulsa for the second time, just to learn a little bit more, connect with the people. And the goal is, if we can learn more this trip, how can we ingrain this and help more teachers and students learn about Tulsa Black Wall Street by bringing y'all along with us next year. Stay tuned.
We're going.
Back to Tulsa. Just landed. Just touched down. We had a little layover in Salt Lake City. Shout out to the beautiful state of Utah. On our way to Tulsa. Got like an hour and a half, 2-hour flight. 2.5 hour flight. I don't know anything. All right, I get on the plane, logistics team, the queen here. She has all the coordination. It's a great time. Hopefully y'all can come with us next year. And it's a very short travel to Tulsa. We'll be there for 3 beautiful days. Just touched down in Tulsa. For us, it was about 2 flights, right? We took 1 flight into Salt Lake City and then another 2-hour flight into Tulsa. The beautiful thing, historically and for this whole trip, is that Tulsa is literally, like, if you look at a map, it's smack dab in the middle of America. Back in like the early 1800s and mid 1800s, when there was a lot of migration going on, a lot of folks were coming from the south and going to and through Tulsa. A lot of people stayed there because of the oil boom. Some people left and came out to California and other places out west. So it's a lot of history of migration and people moving through. Hopefully in the museum tour and on the amazing tours that we take with Terry, the Greenwood Chamber of Commerce, and the Greenwood Rising Center, you'll learn more about that history and what happened after Tulsa became the oil capital of America. A lot of wealth was being made, a lot of generational wealth, and families were able to make money, and of course ended up creating Tulsa's Black Wall Street. So stay tuned to some stuff. All right, you know, it's a little humid. Not gonna front, it's a little humid, but it's not. The sun's not on you. It's not burning. Oh, well, am I a little glossy? Got a little sunshine on me. Listen, it's humid out here. Y'all see the cameraman doing his thing, Sinclair doing her thing. But day one, we're really just touching down. It's really a chill day. Got to check into the hotel, get some food in Greenwood, walk around Greenwood a little bit just to reacclimate ourselves to it. Hey, no, you got a job. I understand. Content comes second after safety. Remember that. Content after safety. Tomorrow's really our big full day, and then on Sunday we get to drive out to Oklahoma City and do a dope M4 interview with a full family. It's our first like multi-generational interview, so it's gonna be pretty cool. Stay tuned. I don't know what's going down at this Hyatt hotel, but we picked the right weekend to come. It seemed like I know Comic-Con was like last week in San Diego. I assume this is another type of Comic-Con event. We're gonna ask some people and see what's up. It's a whole nother reason to start coming back out here, right? 2 things. 1, learn the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street, dope. 2, I love anime. It's Tokyo, Oklahoma. So I feel like it's kind of like Comic-Con, but out here. That's what I see it as. So, extra excuse to come visit. project. Tell them about your documentary, Larry.
Okay, yes, I have a documentary, and what it is, you know, like most folks' documentaries about the massacre, you know, where the bodies are, which is very important. The documentary I put together is a documentary of, we don't have like real historians in it, but the people are historians because they live Greenwood, right? And so it's about the rebuild and what people went through to rebuild and how life was on Greenwood from when it was a kid. Just imagine Bourbon Street and 125th, 110th in Harlem, right? At one place. It was on Greenwood. But it was so they suppressed everything. See, Tulsa should have been a real major metropolitan city with the oil find, where all the tycoons lived out here, you know, they all lived here, right? And so, but they kept it suppressed. You know, the J. Paul Gettys, the Rockefellers, Howard Hughes, they was all here during an era of time that knew enough to know what took place, but they kept it suppressed. And it was their best kept secret. Not only the massacre, but Tulsa in general with the oil money. Because it was the oil capital of the world for a long time. You know what I mean? So during that era of Tulsa being the oil capital of the world, and Jim Crow, right, and segregation, Greenwood itself thrived, and it was like, it was that, right? It was Beale Street and Bourbon Street all in one place. So, so that's what the documentary is basically about, the life that they lived in Greenwood.
Where can they watch it? Where can they find it?
Well, right now we did a world premiere at the Culture Center back in February. So honestly, right now we're kind of going through some changes and trials, you know, producers, you know, how that thing, man. We're trying to raise, it's really, you know, I leave it at that.
Okay.
Right? That like all the people that's from Tulsa know when we come to do something on Greenwood, it's just we come to Greenwood. It's always been you know, because Greenwood was it. It was, you know, this was it. But they don't come down for nothing else, though. They won't, all the people won't come down, you know. But for an event like the Juneteenth, they be here. They'll come down and walk around, and kids, and get wild, and fighting and chasing, you know, that's just it. You know what I'm saying? But for most part, the whole community come out. It just be like,
It is Tulsa Greenwood Part 2. We finally landed. It's very exciting. In the back, we got the Greenwood Rising Center. We'll do a full tour tomorrow. Don't you wait. We're gonna also go to, where are we going for breakfast?
Wanda J's Next Generation, family-owned, black-owned restaurant. They got good breakfast, good soul food, good lunch. We about to grub tomorrow morning, just know.
Oh yeah, so y'all just wait. This is part 2 of the annual Tulsa, aka Greenwood, aka Black Wall Street, aka Little Africa trip. Very exciting. Hopefully y'all can come to us next year, but if you can't, we're gonna create this amazing experience so that you can live and learn through the lens. See y'all tomorrow. At Wanda J's Next Generation, getting some breakfast. What did we order? I ordered 2 eggs, any style, hash browns. I substituted the sausage and the bacon for some chicken. You know, if you want to do some remixes, definitely feel free. And then added some pancakes on that bad boy too. And then she copied me.
Except for my eggs are medium, you know, I like it a little runny.
Yeah, but the plan is get some breakfast this morning, get our nutrition up, then go over to the Greenwood Rising Center, get some history, learn more, see some exhibits. Again, I'm excited for the hologram of, I think it's Carter's Barbershop. I'm excited for that hologram. And then just learn more history. Stay tuned. So we got our 2-piece of dark meat. I got my egg over hard. And then of course we got the pancake on the side. This is going to be a delicious Wanda J's meal. Ooh. Alright, full. Just got done with Wanda J's. It is a must visit if you come down to Greenwood. The beautiful thing about Wanda's is it has been owned by 3 generations. generations. Queen,
Yes.
how important is that for generational wealth? Just being able to own an establishment, own a brand, and pass it down generation to generation.
I think it's really important because if we're talking about like that family wealth and building something to pass down, right? You have a building, you have a brick and mortar business that you've been running for generations. It has its own family culture. There's been a lot of people coming in, and we thought that they were like blood family, and they're like, oh, these are just customers that we've known for years, and they're now family. So I love that aspect that you become family the more that you visit. Hopefully we can get on a family basis, with the Wanda J's. But yeah, I think it's really important to have a business, something that you can pass down to the kids, get the kids involved, right? You got like grandson, nephews in the kitchens cooking up. I love that. It gives something, I think, for everybody to work towards and to, help build that family wealth.
Oh yeah, and it started in 1974. That was the first location. A little further down that way in North Tulsa, like deep North Tulsa, original Greenwood is where it really started. Still owned by the grandson of Wanda J's and managed and operated by the great-granddaughter, Miss Glory. So again, just love to see the passing down from generation to generation. Something that we teach in Play Black Wall Street Academy is how can you take your passion, take something that you love, and build a business out of it, right? And we see that clearly in the Wanda J's family, their dynasty, their kingdom. They love food, love hospitality, love being able to give people that culture, that experience through a good meal. And that love, that passion has been able to be passed down to generation and create wealth for their family. So much love to Wanda J's. If you come down to Greenwood, definitely make sure you tap in and get a plate.
Hi, my name is Gina Woods. I'm the owner of the Lock Shop here at 101 North Greenwood. I've owned the Lock Shop for a little bit over 2.5 years. Started off across the street as a bail bondsman. So I've been on Greenwood for about 14 years now. It's been a magnificent experience to own a business here, to keep carrying the torch that our ancestors have started for us. It's very important to come down to Greenwood. It has a very rich history that's here to inspire, to encourage. For example, you look at most of the founders, they were first generation out of slavery. And for them to have a dream and bring it to fruition, how much more can we? So it's very important to come down, to get inspired, learn about your history, learn about the power that lies within you. Come on down.
I mean, when I was a kid, Oklahoma Steel used to be right over there where they built that place, and there was probably 2,000 or 3,000 guys worked there at that Oklahoma Steel. I mean, making good money. Right. Now most guys making good money around here, they work at American or Nordam like I do, or it's the aircraft really a big deal in Tulsa now.
You too.
You got the corner store, right?
No, so her name is Angela too, that owns Creoles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just in amazing shapes. But she has some amazing stories about Greenwood as well.
Okay. When
she was younger, she told me one about when they used to do Juneteenth. A lot of folks think that Juneteenth is something new, but it's been around for a long time. Celebrated huge Greenwood. She said they would come down and they had talent shows. I mean, just a big, huge event. Yeah.
Is she here on Saturdays? Or is
She's
Monday
not. So what I would probably do is go and get her number.
Okay.
And call her and probably set up something with her.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll be an amazing person. And she has some really great fond memories of hanging down here as a kid. Yeah.
I'll go ahead.
By 1922, less than 6 months, they were rebuilding. And to just add to it, they weren't able to get any supplies from Oklahoma, so they had to get supplies from Arkansas and Missouri. But that says a lot about the resilience of a people and the strength that lies within a people. So yeah, looking at the different dates and seeing it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, what are y'all giving me? Y'all selling them or what? So I was.
Something that Booker T. Washington was really big on was ownership and economic growth, right? So he was really advocating for schools to be built to teach trades, teach barbershop cutting or hair cutting, teach how to build a house, teach how to drill oil. How can we learn tangible skills to start businesses and build wealth all throughout America? Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois had a little bit of different mindset. W.E.B. Du Bois thought that we should be focusing on education and creating a talented 10th, right? Our doctors, our lawyers, our politicians. While Booker T. Washington was more like, no, we need our everyday 9-to-5 workers who have stable jobs and can build wealth. I don't think either one are wrong, right? But when we think about what happened in Greenwood, when we think about the wealth that was built in Black Wall Street, it's definitely a Booker T. Washington model. Look, we are in the Greenwood Rising Historical Center, just learning a little bit more about the history. And it's cool to see the history and also know that within our Play Black Wall Street Academy, we are covering the same information that you can get here on our courses, right? So you can come here and you can learn about John and Laula Williams, a power couple who owned a grocery store, a candy store, a confectionery, a theater, a car shop. They were literally a power couple out here in Greenwood that owned multiple businesses. We got J.B. Stratford, little picture here with his wife Augusta, who was attorney within the community. J.D. Mann, who owned several grocery stores. We had the Renaissance man himself, Simon Barry, who owned a jitney service, a taxi service, and he was a pilot. So if you wanted a private plane ride somewhere because you're a businessman, you want to go to Harlem, you want to go to Chicago, you want to go to Mississippi, you would travel with Simon Barry. Right? O.W. Gurley, real estate developer, store owner, and noted as one of the visionary founders of Tulsa's Black Wall Street, one of the people who bought 40 acres and was very specific to only sell it to Black businesses and Black families. The list goes on and on. Right? This is one of the reasons why you have to come to Greenwood to experience this history. Queen, just anything that you would like to add on being here and maybe the legacy of John and Laula, how we want to follow in their footsteps?
I definitely think it's dope to see, especially because one, you love movies and we talked about having like a theater, so being able to see the couple behind Williams Dreamland Theater and so many other businesses, just to see that. I think it's always just a reminder that although we may feel like trailblazers, we're always standing on the shoulders of ancestors, whether we know it or not. Yeah. We're always following someone else's footsteps. So it's again to see, it's amazing to see other people who've done exactly what we're trying to do, yeah. And to know that it's possible, one, right. And see, put eyes on other people who are dreamers just like us.
Beautiful, it's beautiful. That's why it's important not just for our educators to come here, right? If you teach history, if you teach ethnic studies, this is somewhere that you definitely want to come to learn more about that history, but also for our families, for our scholars. Like the Queen said, we stand on the shoulders of greatness. So to be able to come here and see examples of entrepreneurs, see examples of people who have followed and achieved their dreams makes it that much possible for you to do the same thing. All right, so we're gonna keep going. We haven't even gone through the whole tour of the Greenwood Rising Center yet. We're gonna go into TC's barbershop right now, and I think this is the hologram section. It should be fun.
Shout out to TC.
Shout out to TC. Funny thing is,
exhibit because Black-owned barbershops and beauty salons, I think, hold a very special place in the community as the place where you just talk, right? You talk, you tell your problems, right? You talk. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about the real struggles that everybody's dealing with. Just like they're talking about here, they're talking about the racism that they experienced back then. And truthfully, that's still alive today. And I think they also hold a special place because of the stigma that Black people don't go to therapy or anything like that, in the traditional sense. But this was the therapy. This is where you got to talk about the real issues, talk about, and get that consultation, get that
mentorship.
Yeah, mentorship.
Wisdom.
Yeah. So I think this exhibit is very important for that reason.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's cool how like they captured what they would talk about 100 years ago, and it's not too different from what we talk about now. So it's like they're talking about their problems then, they're talking about people in the community then, they're talking about ownership, they're talking about racism and discrimination, and 100 years later, sad part, the same barbershops, we're talking about very similar things, right? But it's very important, like the Queen said, we need these pillars in the community, safe spaces within our community to be able to have these conversations. Trip to come down here to Greenwood. It's very inspirational. It's also very traumatic, right? The history that our ancestors have lived through, the African diasporas within America, is a very turbulent and violent history. When you come here, I do want to make sure that your kids, your teachers, and yourselves are prepared to learn about the full history of it. We go through and we learn about the black codes that a lot of our ancestors lived through in the South. After they were free within America, they still had a certain set of codes and rules that they needed to live by. We learn about the Red Summer in 1919, one of the largest, most violent summers for African Americans, and a record number of lynchings in America. And of course, we learn about the destruction, the violence, the hate, and the discrimination of hate groups like the Ku Klux Klan. And it's interesting because 2022, right? And I'm from California, but still seeing the hood, still seeing the Klan, it's still traumatic. It still makes you a little bit afraid. It still makes you feel something emotional. That's how powerful this history is. And that's why we need to know this history so that America never repeats this. So it's important to come down here. You want to get the inspirational stories, you want to get the entrepreneurship stories, but you also want to learn some of the sad, discriminatory history that America has gone through so that we never, ever backslide into that type of society again. Black Wall Street, there's so many different facets and things that you really need to pay attention to. One is the political use of words and media that were used after the massacre. A lot of the media and the newspapers, they show it as a riot and trying to put blame of the destruction of the fires on the people who lived there, and they framed it as a riot instead of a massacre. And that's what it was, right? It was people outside of the community coming in and destroying and killing and doing a lot of violence in the community. No fault of the people who lived there on their own. The second thing that you really need to talk to after you look at politics is the economics of it. The economics during the height of Tulsa Black Wall Street in 1920, 1921, and how much business, how much black dollar circulation was happening, but and then the purposeful urban renewal that happened after the massacre to make sure that they couldn't rebuild. I know the Queen, we were reading some of the things that were going on there, and they talked about the highway going in and other things. Anything you want to highlight about urban renewal and what stopped Tulsa from being able to grow again later?
I just think they're very strategic about where they put certain things, right? So we already had the railroad that was separating the whites and the blacks. So then you slap a highway that now confines what used to be 40 blocks into like 4 square blocks, and so that it can't ever really grow back to what it used to. I think that was very strategic, and unfortunately sad that had to go through so much approval to even get done. So unfortunately it was probably very widely accepted amongst the community outside of Tulsa.
Yep, and urban renewal, gentrification are things that our students live and experience in real life, right? All around the world or all around America, in Inglewood, in Compton, in Chicago, in Harlem. These are communities that experience gentrification. So it's good to be able to know the history of it, know that it's not just something that's around in 2019 and 2022, but it's something that has been used for years, and it's something that people of color need to also learn. We need to be in those urban planning rooms. We need urban planners, we need health coaches, we need architects, we need real estate developers from our community to make sure that we're living in high quality, but not pushing out the people who live there, all right? So here we have housing, the fact that our ancestors' homes were destroyed, and for months, for years, they lived in tents because they couldn't afford to get their own homes because the insurance claims that they did on the homes that they built weren't accepted. They weren't able to get bricks and housing equipment to rebuild their homes in Tulsa, so they needed to get it from Arkansas and other places. So they literally had to live in huts and in tents for years at a time, right? Public health. Seems like the Queen is really, really big on health, access to quality food. Why is quality food, Queen, important for any community? Why is quality food, access to healthy, organic food important?
So I mean, food is it's fuel, but it's more than just that. Every cell in our body is actually created from the food we eat. So like the phrase "you are what you eat," I feel like we throw that around as kind of a phrase, but there's actually a lot of truth to that. That your muscles, your proteins, everything is made from the food you eat. So if your community does not have access to good quality food, what does that say about the bodies, the brains of every community member there? And so it just makes it that much harder for you to have to go outside of your community to go find the grocery stores where the fresh vegetables, right? So that's even very much alive today with the food deserts, right? Where you have a lot of communities that only have liquor stores and McDonald's and Burger Kings and things like that. You got to go outside of the community to the next neighborhood to find a grocery store that actually has fresh vegetables. So that's still in play today. So it's a big part of very strategic things that are done to make sure certain communities are thriving and others are not.
Yeah. And the last thing that we'll cover is really an action item for you. And Queen, can you pick up that book by Hannibal B. Johnson, right? Boom. From Riot to Renaissance. This is an amazing book if you want to read more, right? Maybe you're going to come to the Greenwood Rising Center, which we highly recommend. But if you can't get here, or in the meantime, before you get here, pick up this book. And it really tells you the story before Greenwood. It tells you about the story of the Trail of Tears and how the indigenous and African population traveled together. It tells you the story of how they built up Tulsa's Black Wall Street. And of course, the story of the urban renewal as well. So definitely make sure y'all check this out. In the meantime, it's your responsibility to get some of the education. But in all, the reason why we enjoy studying Black Wall Street, enjoy studying Greenwood, is because you see you can cover so many different aspects and so many different subjects, right? You can cover history, you can cover ethnic studies, you can cover politics, you can cover sociology, you can cover economics, you can cover public health, all within learning about one historical thing in history. So we finally got to visit. Again, we came here last year, 2021, during the dedication. It's been years in the making of this amazing place. Queen, what is one takeaway that you have from visiting the Greenwood Rising Center?
I alluded to it before, but I think just that we are products of our history, our ancestors, and everything that we've been through, right, as a community. So I think I did see something that was basically a quote from someone, letters exchanging back and forth from a friend outside of Tulsa and then someone from Tulsa, basically saying, if you want a safe place, then you can come to my house type of thing. We'll be expecting you. And they were like, as much as I appreciate that, this is my home. And they didn't take our spirits. So that's what I felt that one when I saw that. So like, no matter what trials and tribulations that we go through, like, don't let anybody try to tarnish your spirit, right? That's something that nobody can take from you. So that's what I took away.
Nice. So when you come visit, make sure you take away some piece of it, right? There's tons of different exhibits, a lot of history that you can learn. Something that we're taking away and something that we're putting in is making sure that we give our smart part to the history and legacy of Tulsa Black Wall Street. The board game is one way that we do it, but we also, back in about 2020, had the privilege of being able to donate some funds and board games to the Greenwood Rising Historical Center as well. And this was the first time we got to come visit and got to see our names on the wall. Love it. It's an honor to be able to support, an honor to be kind of a little bit a part of the legacy and a part of the history.
Massacre, they rebuilt it back over again. So they started rebuilding back. The narrative is like, the narrative always gonna be the narrative of what they want to portray to the reasoning why. Well, the reasoning why was, that was just the spark of a lie to get it started. The reason why, they just didn't want blacks to be successful, at the time, right? Because they were successful. You gotta realize, a lot of those guys came back, white guys came back from World War I. They wasn't having nothing. They were struggling for them, right? And so, blacks was having things, they was moving, they was building, and so they wanted to destroy it.
And you were saying how these bricks over here.
Yeah, these bricks here actually are rubble to the destruction, right? So, like, when they began to rebuild, and when they rebuilt, they took some rubble and made a facade to a building. Right, as a reminder. It's like a sign, right? So, like that black sign over there, I have never read that sign, but I know what it say. I know what it's talking about, right? So what this was, people in Greenwood knew what it meant. From destruction, hatred, greed, everything that's imaginable that's not healthy for people. This is what this meant, right? So, plus, like when blacks came in, well, we know Oklahoma had over 30 black townships or more, right? Even before statehood, right? So when the blacks came into Greenwood, this was a sign to them. When they came from those black townships, it's a network system in Greenwood is what made Greenwood grow. Not only did they come from down south, they came from right here out of Oklahoma as well. They came into Greenwood. So that's what that is.